Today, what I would like to discuss is the idea of practice, and not just practice in the sense of the usual questions that a lot of us tend to wonder about, such as what do you practice, or how do you practice, and what's your routine. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is something that comes from more of a personal experience for me in the realm of practice, and what the downside of this constant obsession of practice can do. So back when I was leaving out of college, which has been a decade ago since I graduated with my graduate, my master's degree in jazz studies. When I came out, I had this feeling that I needed to constantly practice, that I wasn't ready to go out and perform yet. So my days needed to be spent just with guitar, getting better and better, which, looking back, and I mean addressing the topic even today, it is true. You do want to put in a lot of time when you are practicing, and just into the practice room. I mean, you want to put in a decent amount of time and work on things that are essential for what you're trying to do. However, you can easily get caught up in this idea of always feeling like you have to practice and that you need to practice instead of list any number of things here. I'll address what I feel, or what I've experienced. You feel like you need to practice instead of writing a new tune, which this is something, just to preface this real quick here, this is something that even now I'm experiencing. So you have this idea that I need to practice, so I can't write a tune because I got to practice something. And by the time that you get that going, especially if you got kids and you're either teaching or doing another job or whatever else you have going on, priorities, then that composition time doesn't come up. So you practice instead of doing that. You practice instead of booking gigs. Now that's one thing that I haven't necessarily fallen victim to over the latter half of the last 10 years, because I found that is a huge priority, that you do have to focus on that. But in the early part of it, that is exactly what I would do. I would focus on the practice and feeling, well, there's no use to even try to go out and book gigs or do anything because I need to practice. Not good enough yet. And my time is better spent doing that. Which again, that you're going to know for yourself whether or not you can go out and do the job you need to do, but you need to also understand that maybe booking those gigs is the kick that you need to push you in the direction. That way you can actually apply the things that you're working on, because outside of just staying at home locked up practicing the material, if you're not applying it to any given situation, if you're not out performing, you're not playing with other people, you're not recording anything, if you're not trying to put that material out, then other than the pleasure of doing it for yourself, which is fine, you gotta figure out what's the reason that you're doing it. And if the reason is just because you feel like you're not able to get out there and perform, you're not able to do it, then you need to pull yourself out of that, because it is a very, very deep hole you can get yourself into when you focus just on this idea that you got to constantly practice.